Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. So today in this set of videos, today we are in our day 7, and we are going to see how to run multiple containers in a pod. So as I told you in my previous video when I was explaining you about pods, so pods contains or pods can contain or pods can hold multiple containers. So in this video, I'll show you how to uh, create multiple containers in a single pod, and we'll see their properties, and also we'll see much more about multiple containers in a single pod. So just remember, a pod can contain multiple containers because this could be one of your interview questions, or even this could be one of your certification questions as well. So we'll see how to create multiple containers inside a pod. So for now, we I have scaled up. So scaling and having multiple containers are two different areas of pods, but a pod is much more capable than that. So in this video we'll see how to hold or how to create multiple containers inside a single pod, and we'll see much more about that. And before we move on to this video, this is me, your Vasan Shanmugam. I welcome you all to our Little Slaw YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and don't forget to join my channel and share the video with your friends if you find someone who is learning, or someone who wants training on Kubernetes. And if you like the video, please do give a thumbs up. And yeah, let's move on to the video. So for now, we all know these pods which I'm having here, they all have one single container, which is the nginx container, which is running inside it. And now in this example, we are going to create multiple containers. So again, before I move on to create multiple containers, so running multiple containers inside a single pod. So this pod, inside a single pod, is a common practice, especially when the containers are tightly coupled, and when they need to share resources like storage or network or any other IPC related resources. So in this video, I'll take you through step by step on how to run multiple containers inside a single pod. So before running containers in a pod, we need a Kubernetes cluster. So we can set up a Kubernetes cluster using Minikube. So I'm using Minikube to create the Kubernetes cluster. So we have a cluster, and inside a cluster, so this is the cluster, and inside the cluster we have the pods, and inside the pods we are going to create the containers, right? So to create multiple containers into a single pod, I'm going to use that through a YAML file. And let me go back to the Visual Studio Code, and here I'm going to create a file, and that is going to be multiple container or .yaml. So this is the file which will hold my code. So this is the code. So what I have here is I have two containers. So one is the nginx container, the one that we originally have, which is the latest one. The image is the latest image, and it has a container port of 80. And then we have the another container, which is the busy box container. So what does this busy box container is? So it actually prints a message every 5 seconds. So here you can see it has a command which will print while true. It echo hello from the busybox container for every 5 seconds. And so we have two containers. So one is the nginx container and the other one is the busybox container. We can actually try with several containers, but for now, for this example, I'm showing you with two containers inside a single pod, right? Let me save it. And now let's go back to the lens. And here, let me cd into this directory. So now I'm into this directory, and now I'm going to run the kubectl apply -f multiple. So when I enter tab, automatically that file name which starts with multiple container pod.yaml automatically pops up. So what I do is I do kubectl apply -f. So let me explain this command before we move on. So kubectl apply tells the Kubernetes to create or update the resources specified, and then -f indicates that I'm going to run this change or this configuration through a file. So it indicates the source of the configuration is a file, and then I have the file name. the path to the YAML file that contains the configuration. So this is very simple. So you're going to apply the kubectl change through a file. So if you're not going to apply it through a file, it's going to be a different one. But for now, since I'm going to deploy this change, or I'm going to release this change using file, I'm giving -f. So just remember this one, because you might be asked this as a interview question in your interview question. So let me click enter, and I'm getting an error. Authentication required. So let me just check it out. Okay, so let me try from here to avoid this issue. So kubectl apply -f. Let me just scroll it up. -f, and then multiple container. Yep. So now it's working. So I think there's some issue with the um, issue in the lens to reach it out. But yeah, for now it worked. And here you can see the multi-container pod that has got created, and it is running. Yep. So it's running, and yep. So far it looks good. And let me run this kubectl get pods. So this will get me the pod. I think there is some issue in the authentication, but for now, yeah, it's not an issue. Let me fix it, but for now, let me go back to the Visual Studio Code and kubectl get pods. So yeah, here you can see I've got the multi-container pod, 2 out of 2. I've got 2 containers. So initially, if you see, it has got 1 out of 1, which means this one pod contains 1 container, and that's running fine. And but for now, I'm having 2 containers inside a single pod. So that's the reason you could see I have got 2 out of 2 inside a multi-container pod. And now let me run kubectl logs multi-container pod -c nginx container. So this will give me the log of this particular container inside the multi-container pod. So here you can see um, I'm using the epoll event method nginx, and then it's built by GCC. The OS is Linux, and then it started to work. Yep. So this is the quick log about the nginx one, and then let's now go to the next one. So it's, let me just type it. It's kubectl logs multi container pod -c busy box minus container. So yeah, so this is printing hello from the busy box container for every 5 seconds. That's why you can see lots and lots of messages, because it's printing every single time. So see, if you see here, it keeps on printing the message hello from the busy box container. So now, since you see, I have got two two containers running inside a pod. So if I click on it, you can see it's been created 3 minutes 28 seconds ago, and it's a multi-container pod, and it's running. The node is minikube, and you can see 2 containers like I told you. So I have got the nginx container here, and then I have got the busybox container here. So both of them are running and they are ready. And then here is the Kube API, which is working along with the pods, the containers, and then here you can see the events, which is running. So the next thing is, what if I want to pause, or what if I want to stop one of the containers? So in Kubernetes, we cannot directly stop a specific container inside a running pod. So if you're having like multiple containers, it's not possible for you to stop a specific container which is running inside a pod without affecting the entire pod. Like if you remember in the previous video, I told you, if something happens to one of the container, the entire pod might get crashed, right? So that's the disadvantage of the pods. So Kubernetes treats a pod as a single unit, and all the containers within a pod are intended to run together. So that's the reason I told you, if one of the container in a pod stops, Kubernetes will attempt to restart it to maintain the desired state. But if you want to effectively stop one of the container inside a pod, we have few options. So let's try the first option, where we are going to modify the pod YAML, and we are going to reapply. So let me go back to the first the code which we have created. So here, this is the code which we created. And the first option, the thing is like we're going to modify the pod YAML. So to stop, I'm trying to stop one of the container inside the pod. So since we have like multiple containers running inside a pod, so initially we have executed, or we have created multiple containers inside a pod. So now I'll show you how to stop one of the containers, and let's see what happens. And I want to remove the container, which I really want to stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just comment this container, this anything related to this container, and then now I'm going to reapply the command. So let me go back. Let me just quickly save this, and then kubectl apply minus f and multiple container. Yep. Uh, Pod updates may not add or remove container. So this is what um, the issue is. Like it won't um, very easily allow you to stop the one of the container inside the pod. So like I told you, the error that we are seeing now is due to the fact that Kubernetes pods or Kubernetes does not allow you to add or remove containers in an existing pod. So once a pod is created, its container configuration is immutable, which means you cannot directly modify the list of containers within the pod. So you must need to create a new pod if you need to change the containers, or you must need to delete and recreate the pod. So that is the main config thing which I wanted to tell you. So we have to make sure that once you create a container, once you create multiple containers inside a pod, if you really want to um, stop one of the container, it is not possible because as I told you, they are immutable. So you have to either completely delete and then you have to recreate the container. So you have to make sure that when you're creating or when you're pushing something to production, so you have to make sure that you are creating the right one, right pod with the correct required containers only. Then it is always advisable to create and to run it. So yep. So I believe what I've explained you in this video is we have created multiple containers inside a pod, and then I have explained you that the pods are immutable, which is you will not be allowed to make any changes inside the pods, right? And if you're trying to create it, so it will not allow you to update, it will not allow you to add or any remove containers inside the pod as it is immutable. So I think I have explained you the topic which I wanted to explain you today. So with that I come to an end, and I definitely believe this video would be very useful to you. So until I meet you in my next videos, bye bye from Asan Shanmugam and your favorite Little Star YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.